that many days, Evan, it just takes so much of a toll on your body, your health. Look at Ric Flair, first of all, Evan. Look at him. Even though he looks so much older than he truly is. And his body is so broken. And he's shutting down in so many ways. It's because of how he lived his lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. It's a sex, drugs, rock and roll lifestyle. Not all. Nikolai Volkov's in the movie, clean as a whistle.
Yes.
But for many of them, I have wrestler friends who have told me, Evan, I am always in pain. They hate the word fake. Gravity is not fake.
No.
You're being tossed around. My hip replacement wasn't fake. My bad back isn't fake. My knee replacement isn't fake, etc. So on. And the three divorces weren't fake. You know, but the other side of it, I don't want to make it all sound grim, is they saw the world on the promoter's dime. They've been to Australia. They've been to Japan. They wrestled in front of oil sheiks 3 a.m. in Saudi Arabia, etc. So on. So you know, there's a joyful side to it as well.
Again, we're talking to Evan Ginzburg of 350 Days here on the Neil Haley Show. And tell us how you decided to do this documentary. You told me a sad story off air that your son died young from pro wrestling. Am I correct, Evan? Yeah.
One of my best friends. Tiger Khan.
Tiger Khan. Best friend.
Who worked for the Hearts up in Calgary. He was 33 years old, and like many 10, 20 years ago, he thought he was too small for the business. So, you know, steroids and, you know, the whole deal. And eventually he went to sleep and didn't wake up. And it is what it is. And he's one of 150 plus who went out before their time. There's a long line of deceased wrestlers who did not survive this business. And even in our movie, we have close to a dozen wrestlers who are no longer with us.
Yes.
We filmed this over 5 years. And it is not meant for longevity in most cases. So George the Animal Steel is in our movie. Superfly Snooker, Larry Sharp, Don Fargo. They're all gone.
They're all gone.
Baker, all gone, yeah.
And what made your background for wrestling? Were you a journalist in wrestling? Is that why you decided to make this movie?
I was a journalist as well as an agent. I took many of the legends on the road for autograph signings and appearances, and I was associate producer on The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke as well.
Oh, really? Wow.
And yes. And I even acted with Mickey in the movie. We improv'd our scene. That was that tragic autograph scene, which was based on a real convention that I took Darren Aronofsky and others involved in the film to. We went to a convention, and there's Lou Albano and Moolah and Mae Young and Iron Sheik and Nikolai, and they're all sitting there, and there's no fans. There's nobody there.
Yes.
And Iron Sheik's head is down on the table asleep. That's how depressing it was. So that scene was not in the original script, and the screenwriter eventually wrote it in because it really affected us. Like, here's these guys that sold out arenas around the world, and, you know, the place is empty. It's not always glamorous. You know, you watch WWE TV and you have, you know, the entrance music and all the hype, but it's not that glamorous being on the road every day, believe me.
It's not. And then you wrestle in front of 30 people. Just because when you're on your way up, the way down is a very long road. And some of these guys keep staying on that road. An Iron Sheik still works all the time. A Nikolai Volkov still does independence. And they remember the days when they were in packed houses. And that's got to be tough on you. It's like, okay, I'm just trying to scrounge away a couple bucks to make this weekend compared to what I was making in my prime. That's hard. Yeah.
It's very hard for any athlete after the glory.
Yes.
You know, you headline Madison Square Garden. Now you're wrestling in front of, no exaggeration, 37 people in some small town. And Nikolai Volkov wrestled one match. The ring didn't show up. That's how sad it was. But Nikolai actually is one of the guys who saved his money. He's okay. He just some people, they just love the business and it's hard to get it out of your blood. But others, they're doing it for the money. They need that couple of $100. Notice I said couple of $100,
right?
$1,000.
No.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
Because these indies aren't drawing. Vince has destroyed the independent scene. There's 20 or like there was a story I was involved that I was in an event. There were 9 shows going on at the same time in Western Pennsylvania that drew an average of 300 people apiece. Just imagine if they would have just kept that one and got the best workers on that one, how the independents could still be thriving. If it wasn't for all these other shows, instead of getting the guys that really can work and have them work and allow these other people who don't even be in the business, please.
The other side of it is why run 9 shows on a Saturday? Have one guy run it on Friday or even a Thursday.
Right.
Have some sense. I mean, the promoters aren't always the sharpest tools in the shed either.
And work together and say, hey, I'm running this town. This is my town. This is your town. But we're going to make sure we don't screw up and run the same town the same night. But it just never happens because they don't.
They're always feuding and ripping down each other's posters and attacking each other. It gets ridiculous.
Exactly. All right, so Evan, so what we expect to see is you're going to hear about it's a rock style lifestyle, but it's painful. It hurts. It's not easy. And every night you're sore, and the problem is there's no off nights, and you got to keep your body in the most peak condition, most of them, or in the most obese condition if you are a certain gimmick. And it just doesn't work well on a night-to-night basis without ever resting, right?
There's no off season. Football players have an off season. Baseball players, hockey players, whatever the case may be. These guys, it's year round. It's relentless, and basically they spit them out, and that's it. When your body's shot, thank you very much. And no pensions, no 401ks, no health benefits. It's really a brutal, brutal business. It's comparable to boxing.
Or now UFC, but they don't.
Well, UFC.
Right.
The thing with UFC is people don't realize the guys on top of the cards, the main event guys are making some decent money, but most of the other guys are making chump change. And what's the toll of having black belts kicking you in the head? They don't know. It's a young sport. They don't know what these guys are going to be like in 20 years.
Oh, they're going to be terrible. And it was very interesting. I talked to Shamrock, not Ken, the one that was the best one, and we had a good convo. Frank and I had a good conversation at the National Cannabis Conference. And what he told me is that the reason I'm not screwed up is because no one could hit me, meaning I was able to dodge and all that, and also using cannabis to help his cannabis oil to help his brain keep functioning and all those things. But that's the thing. If you're really good, Evan, in that sport, maybe you're not going to have as bad as pro wrestling when these crazies would go and do Terry Funk and all these guys with these barbed wire baseball bat matches. And think of these indies that were drawing but made no money at all. Chairs, all these different things, hitting themselves in the head. They're finally stopped doing that, but it's too late for a lot of these guys.
A lot of the older guys have Alzheimer's, and it's possibly because back in the day, night after night, they were taking chair shots to the head, and they didn't realize in the 70s, 80s, 90s that this was not a healthy thing to do, have some 300-pound guy hitting you in the head with a chair. And for many, many reasons, it's a brutal business. I was once sitting with a friend who was a chiropractor at an indie show, and he says to me, Evan, do you realize that some of these moves are a mini whiplash?
Yes.
Night after night after night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I took a bump for the first time in 11, 12 years, and I'm like, whoa. It's like, oh, my gosh. And these guys are doing it still. And the problem is, unless you're doing it every night, these indies are going to get a lot hurt more if they do, because honestly, they're going to do it wrong. They're not trained right. So it'll be interesting to look at the backyard wrestlers that put all that time. Not backyard. I mean, independents, the real indies that never have traveled, work in the same town once a month or twice a month. What the toll will be on their bodies because of not being in shape, Evan, taking chair shots, taking all these different things, putting their body on the line. It's like, that it'll be interesting to see what they're going to be in 20, 30 years. It's very...
And the high spot guys, who
this is
some people
ridiculous.
refer to as spot monkeys. I mean, you're one move away from being crippled.
Why are they doing this? Why are they not telling stories anymore, Evan? Why? I interviewed Hillbilly Jim, and Hillbilly said I would just throw a big clothesline and would get over. Why? How are we doing this? Because what's going to happen to these guys in 10 years is scary. Because they're taking 150 bumps in a match. I was lucky to take 7 or 8. I'm 6'10", almost. I used to be 310 pounds, so I took maybe 4 or 5 bumps in a match. 110, 120 pumps, and if they're working 3-4 nights a week, I just couldn't imagine what their bodies are going to be like.
And the old school guys, like my late dear friend Johnny Valiant, who just passed,
I knew Johnny as well. Yeah.
Oh, he was great. He said to me, we prided ourselves on working light. Less is more. Work the ref, work the crowd. They weren't looking to do 87 high spots in one match and cripple themselves. They had to get it. They had to get in there the next night in the next town. And today you have guys retiring at 35 and 40.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, back in the day, a guy like Pat Patterson would come to the Garden. His career peaked at 35 or 40, and they went to 50 or 55, 60. Now it's their careers are cut short. They're destroying themselves. Absolutely.
And a lot of them don't look like wrestlers. And I don't know what Vince is doing on that end and different things. And you listen to the smart marks, but they're not buying all the merchandise. They're not buying all the different things. I know WWE's at their peak, but that's because they have no competition. Till somebody brings back pro wrestling. That's the only way Vince will be threatened. And he has too much power to allow that to happen, doesn't he?
Yeah. Recently, Ring of Honor tried to get into Madison Square Garden, and that got squelched by WWE, allegedly. And I love Ring of Honor. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling. Even though I'm a middle-aged guy, I'm not one of these guys, wrestling was always better then. I mean, there's some incredible athletes today, Okada and Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega. These are amazing athletes. But, when I watch a 3-hour Raw, it's like a punishment for sins I committed in previous lifetimes. It's numbing.
Oh, it's terrible. And so, but I guess the thing that's going to be great about this is 355 days. Anyone that is one of the boys is going to love this film. Fans of the business are going to love it, but the boys will for one reason, if they truly are the boys, meaning they've traveled, they've worked and made money in this business, and they've worked the best people. Then guess what? You'll understand these guys. I've run into a lot of them. I've worked George the Animal Steel. You know the stories of some of the people. Larry Sharp, one of the best trainers in the business of the guys he's developed, and
he trained Bigelow.
Yeah. He trained Bigelow. He trained the Headbangers. I know the Headbangers personally because I was down south of them when they were the Spiders. So, I mean, there's a lot of different guys out there. And so this is the story that people need to see because every day you do and take those chair shots, and I'm sure they're not doing it as much in the big leagues as much as they are in the small leagues. Look what happened to these guys and look at what happened to their families and what they chose to take this. Compared to NFL, you work 3 years. You get a guaranteed it's not guaranteed contract, but if you get that signing bonus, you're set for life if you save your money right. These guys got to work, and take the toll, no health insurance, and when they get done, no one wants them. So there you go. And then they're back in the indies.
People also have the misconception that just because you're on TV, you're making huge money. There are wrestlers on WWE TV on primetime hit shows that are not making what a top of the pay scale New York City school teacher's making. Some of these guys are making $80,000, destroying their body. It's people have real misconceptions about this business.
Oh, truly. But again, star sells. 15 minutes of fame. I'm learning that in my social media branding and digital marketing business and tech company that everyone wants to be a star. Everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame. And what price will they pay to do it? Some will spend all their money. Others will give up their bodies. Others will do anything for fame. I think fame is more powerful than money, and people will always, always want fame over money.
Interesting. Absolutely, I agree.
That's it. So, all right, Evan. What again? It's in theaters Thursday, and then it's going to be out on DVD and Blu-ray, all those different things after that.
Yeah,
Give us a,
down the road. But this Thursday, one night only. You could get tickets at fathomevents.com.